Tuperos y Tuperas, today on DOOP by the River, we have a transfer for one of our guys. We got a contract extension. We got a match to review. Obviously, we had the CCL last week. We're going to talk about that. And, of course, we're going to dive into Wednesday's match here at home against those soccer team, NYCFC. Ladies and gentlemen, don't you dare go anywhere because you do not want to miss this episode of DOOP by the River. Let's get this started, guys. Done. And that is right. Welcome, everyone, to DOOP by the River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union, brought to you by Philly Sports Network. It is a Philly Sports doubleheader. Of course, today we are on El Parcero Phillies YouTube channel only because there is flipping the birds going on PSN. So shouts to all of our brothers and sisters over there at Philly Sports Network. Guys, before we move forward, we got a lot to get to, so let's get to the business at hand. Make sure if you guys are watching this on El Parcero Phillies YouTube channel, hit that like button and make sure to subscribe as well. And, of course, DOOP by the River can be found wherever you stream podcasts from Apple, Google, and Spotify. And, of course, we are part of the PSN Radio. You can find us anywhere. Make sure to rate and subscribe. And, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome my man, Justin, undisputed Bald King of Jersey, Freiburg. What's going on, Justin? How you doing, man?
I'm feeling pretty good. You know, we got CCL to talk about. You know, yes. We'll see how. And we got a game to preview, and I'm excited about who we're bringing on to talk about it.
Yeah, we got two guests, not just for Club America, but for NYCFC as well. So we have a jam-packed episode. I'm excited to get to it. Of course, it's just Justin and I. Tim and Zach will be on the next episode, but of course, Justin and I got this. We got this, right, buddy?
Got this.
Yeah, let's get it, man. Let's get right into it. Because, dude, I've been dying to talk to you about this. So, guys, a little context. Yesterday in our DOOP by the River group chat, Justin sends us all a message. It was a tweet he sent us, and apparently there was a rumor Jack DeVries could be close to a loan deal to Venezia FC over in Serie A in Italy, and I had to do a double take real quick because I was like, are you sure you're talking about Jack? You're not talking about Cole, or you're not talking about Paxton. You're talking about Jack? Because remember, guys, we haven't seen Jack DeVries this entire season. He has suffered that concussion in preseason. He's been on protocol throughout. We haven't even seen him we barely see him in practice. And all of a sudden, this rumor comes out of nowhere. Justin, what do you make of this, man?
You know, it's interesting. Brian Sciaretta tweeted about it, that the rumored loan deal to Venezia would be probably within the week, is what he said. You know, I do find it interesting. I definitely think over the last month or so, the team's been pretty quiet about his status.
Yes,
like it's quiet. You know, like Anthony, like we know he's been concussion, but then like Jack kind of fell under the radar, and I was under the impression he was still through concussion protocol. He might not be. He might just kind of be still training with the team, just kind of, you know, has been working back to full fitness. Does it surprise me? To the team, yes. Now he does have a Dutch passport, so that does make the loan move easier. But also, I mean, Venezia just got promoted. At this point, they're Venezia America because they've signed two Americans already in Tanner Tessman and Gianluca Busio. They're rumored on Eric Palmer Brown, and now if DeVries comes in, that would make potentially 4 Americans. I am curious because usually you get a loan move to get playing time. So I don't know, because he's basically kind of a winger of sorts. I mean, he could play a shuttle, but he's kind of a winger of sorts. So I am curious. I don't really know how Venezia lines up, but it is interesting. I definitely think there's probably a reason it's kind of been quiet on that front for a while. But if it does happen, I hope he gets some playing time, and I hope he comes back because, I was hoping big things from him this year, and he gets a concussion. And I mean, this was his year really to grab hold and get some real minutes. Like I legitimately thought, and the team, Jim definitely said he definitely would, this was his year to kind of step up and really take the reins. And injuries happen, and concussions are no joke.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it's we'll see what happens. Obviously, it's still kind of rumored, nothing totally confirmed. So we'll kind of monitor, but it'd be an interesting move if it does happen.
Hell yeah. Give me those Venezia kits. As Sean says, they should
Oh
hold
my
off on
God,
the deal until Venezia restocks on their kits in their store.
I'm amazed those sold out like $125. I was like, God damn, man.
That's crazy,
insane.
man. They're beautiful. They're definitely beautiful.
Oh my God, yeah.
And of course, AK Gaming. He actually played last season. He got some minutes coming off the bench. I remember him coming off. I guess it was the NYCFC game during the whole bubble. But
it wasn't very much.
Yeah, it's that makes it even more interesting. And then, of course, the other bit of news, Justin, Olivier Mbaizo has signed an extension with the Philadelphia Union. Of course, it being the MLS, it's only a multi-year extension here. But it raises the question because we've had our skepticism over the past couple of weeks only because of Mbaizo's defensive play has been a little iffy. But it seems as if the Union are riding with Mbaizo. Are you confident with that?
I mean, listen, for all the stuff I say about his defensive shortcomings, he does bring a lot to the offensive game.
Something we didn't have, right?
Now, we do talk about, of course, the team is not very specific. It is a multi-year extension. I love it. I would believe it's probably a 2-year with an option for a third, maybe a fourth. Usually that's kind of how these things work. I definitely think they're looking, and I saw this somewhere, and I kind of started thinking about it. I'm curious if they're kind of looking towards the future because Olivier is relatively young. You have you have Alvis as a reliable backup, but you also have Nate Harriel. I mean, people forget that he signed a homegrown deal. He would be the heir apparent, and I think, I mean, you kind of saw it with Ray and Olivier. Like, you kind of saw how Olivier did start to get some time. I mean, it was like, okay, Ray was the starter, but Olivier started getting time, and it was kind of almost a passing of the torch. And I think you could maybe see the same. I mean, again, that's kind of looking to the future, but whenever I see these players, kind of inking new deals, I always think, is that going towards the resale value? Is that looking, because again, I mean, as young as he is, a move to Europe is definitely not out of the question.
Yeah.
So I'm glad about it. Like I said, for all his defensive shortcomings, he's really athletic. He's great at whipping in crosses. I mean, that's the one thing I love is he provides great service that's the one thing I think with Ray, service wasn't always there. I mean, the defensive game was obviously there, but the offensive service wasn't always there. With Olivier, the offensive service, the crosses are always good. And again, the defensive game, obviously, the modern fullback kind of defense is kind of thought of as an afterthought. Like, it's like offense is really the name of the game, and if you can play well defensively like half the time, you're on the upper echelon of wing backs. I mean, just look at like Trent Alexander-Arnold, who for all of his offensive prowess gets ripped to shreds at times, and then comes up with a great goal and people forget about it. So like, I think he kind of fits the idea of a modern fullback.
Yeah, man.
And again, young, still pretty raw, still has a lot of upside. So I'm interested to see how it looks. But hey, he's been your starter most of the season, and I haven't seen anything again outside of his defensive shortcomings. Like, it's not been so obvious where it's like, oh my God, he's absolutely at fault. It's like, yeah, he missed a play, but otherwise, like, you know what? That back line has been pretty solid all year.
Yes, sir. It definitely has. And hopefully with this contract extension, there's enough money to get that man a brand new tooth. As we remember Thursday, my man was missing a tooth. So with that being said, Justin, let's move forward to last Thursday. Of course, we had our CCL semifinal leg 1 match against Club America. So without further ado, guys, we do have a special guest to come on here to talk about this match against Club America. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my man, Mr. Eugene Rapinski. Eugene, what's going on, brother? It's a pleasure to finally have you on the show.
Thanks for having me on. It's great to be able to come on and hopefully shed some wisdom, or at least say something stupid enough for people to laugh at me. So looking forward to it.
Let's go, man. I love your Twitter handle, Golazos and Gringos, or was it Golazos del Gringo?
Del Gringo.
I love it, man. I absolutely love it. So I wanted to, before we get into it, I wanted everyone to get to know Eugene first. Who is Eugene and why Liga MX, man?
All right, so I'll try and give it this as quickly as possible because nobody probably really cares. I started watching soccer like a long time ago. Like we're talking NASL days. Yeah, I'm that old.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Definitely remember the Rowdies growing up in Central Florida. My first like real big soccer memory was the World Cup, right? The 94 World Cup was really a seminal moment as far as my like following soccer, getting interested in soccer. And after it was done, it was over, right? There was no MLS, there was nothing. And we happened to get Spanish language stations where I lived in Florida, and happened upon an old Primera División game and watched it and was like, well, there's nothing here for me to watch. Like, it's 1994, 1995. I can't really just, turn on an EPL game or anything like that. This is what I was able to find and watch it surreptitiously and just kind of went from there.
That's a great story. And that's, guys, I don't think people realize how good we have it. Like right now, if we really wanted to, Hughie, we could watch like third division German soccer if we really wanted to. And it's crazy that you had to go through those lengths. But yeah, shouts to Univision. I remember watching like Sunday during the afternoon. My parents have Univision on. I would turn on TV, and obviously at that time I really didn't care for Liga MX. You find like Pumas versus Chivas or whatever it was, and it's definitely great. But let's get to this game, Eugene. So obviously on Thursday, it didn't go our way. The Philadelphia Union fall 2-0 to Club America, and it was interesting because it started off like the Union literally like the first minute, they had a great opportunity from a Daniel Gazak pass. Shabilko just couldn't get it turning the right way, and it goes a little bit wide of net. And it was very unfortunate because then in the 17th minute from Richard Sanchez off the free kick, deflects off the wall, gets the rebound, and then he shoots the ball, and it deflects off of Gazak, unfortunately, and nothing Andre Blake could do there. And that was the first goal in the 17th minute. But it was okay. Plenty of time. They played hard. You're in this game, right? Time goes on in the second half. We're in the 80th minute, and Jose El Brujo Martinez. We went through VAR. We did go through VAR, but it did draw a penalty kick. And unfortunately for us, Emmanuel Aguilar, he would knock that penalty kick right in. And this isn't MLS. Andre didn't have a chance on that one. And that would be the final score. 2-0. The Union would walk out of Estadio Azteca. Definitely tough to lose, but you can't be too mad in this competition that we didn't even expect to be here in the semifinals. You're going into a stadium as prestigious as Estadio Azteca. I can't be mad. But Eugene, you kind of are the neutral. You live in the area, but obviously you cover Liga MX. I'm really, really curious what you saw last Thursday from both sides.
Well, I'll try to remain as neutral as possible, but make no mistake, I'm definitely not rooting for America. I'm I'm a Union fan first.
Hey.
So I thought Philly played well. I thought, given the gravity of the match, right? Like this is the biggest match that they've ever played.
Yeah.
In the biggest arena. It's one of the temples of the world's game. I mean, the hand of God happened there, right? Like this is not, no offense to the riot in Salt Lake City or anything like that, but it's a far cry from that. So this is the magnitude of this game had to, for me as a fan, I'm just like, wow, this is this is crazy. I can only imagine what it was like for the coaching staff and for the players themselves to be out there. So, all things considered, I think a 2-0 loss really wasn't that bad. I don't think anybody should have expected the Union to go down there and win that game. I think a draw would have been a kind of miraculous result. I think you kind of expected to lose. I think the thing that's really going to come back, that might really come back to bite them though, is they didn't get an away goal. I think that might, I'm pretty convinced America is going to score when they come here. And I think that might, factor into it. And that kind of worries me a little bit. But all in all, I don't think they played bad. They had a couple of mistakes. You mentioned, conceding that free kick, I thought was not the greatest. I think Brujo drawing that penalty was not great. And then, you mentioned Shibilko's miss. I think there were a couple of other chances that they could have had throughout the game. But, all in all, 2-0 loss, not the worst position to be in.
Yeah, I agree with you there, and it's curious. And AK Gaming mentioned something big. Obviously, I don't know if it'll take a miracle, but what Eugene said, this is a lethal team, and we kind of were talking about it off air. 132, 133 it more than likely are going to be filled up, and then I'm envisioning throughout the stadium it's going to be scattered with America fans. So that away goal definitely was hindering. I was hoping they could get that, and they had opportunities, but. Yeah, it's tough. And shouts to Memo Ochoa. I thought he played spectacular. I was.
I want to give him credit. Come on. Listen.
There was
Memo's on a lot of U.S. men's national teams fans shit list. Mine included.
There was that one. Was it like the late closing minutes of the match in the second half? He had a big save, and that really kind of sealed it up for Club America. So definitely, I'm gonna give him credit. I know you guys definitely don't want to, but Justin, what did you see on Thursday?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I predicted, and I thought I was being really conservative on this prediction. I said 2-1 America, and I was hoping on that away goal. I was saying, maybe it's a late goal that they kind of like sneak, and you know what, you've got that away goal and you can pocket, but still 2-0. Again, Eugene hit it on the head. You're playing in literally one of the most iconic stadiums in the Western Hemisphere. I mean, the history behind that stadium, the amount of times the U.S. men's national team has gone there and failed to get a result. We all know Michael Orozco scoring the winner in a friendly is like that's everyone. That's like, oh my God, we finally did it. Michael Bradley, Chipping Ochoa from basically midfield, like that's the stuff that the dreams are built on, and it's an iconic stadium, and yeah, there's no hyperbole. That is the biggest game the Union have ever played in. If anyone tells you otherwise, they're lying to themselves, because if you had said that the Union would be in a CCL match in one of the biggest teams in this side of the world against one of the biggest clubs on this side of the world, I would have called you crazy. Again, that's also saying, that the Union wouldn't have won the Supporters' Shield. Like, there's a lot of things that, like, there's no way in hell this is going to happen. That all being said, I think the Union, again, they had their chances, and I think they did better than I thought, because early on, and I said this last time, that Olivier's going to get tested, and unfortunately he went out with the injury. But
RIP's tooth.
I mean, they kept charging up the left-hand side, and they really started getting some chances in. And the first 5-10 minutes, I'm going, oh no, like, they're really testing Olivier. They're really pushing that. And you had Ali fouling a bit. You had Brujo coming over, and I kept saying, you're gonna get these fouls. You're gonna get these fouls. They kept getting closer and closer to the box. They're gonna get these chances, and the free kick happens. Yeah, you block it. The shot again. And on live, you could not see that the way it hit. I thought Andre was trying to hope that ball went into the post and just missed it, and then you see the replay and went, oh no, that hits off of Gazdag's back and goes completely the other direction. You're like, oh well, damn. Again, Union have some chances. It's
right.
If
I may, real quick, because you were talking about Mbaizo. I really felt like Powell did hold his own. That was the first time we kind of really saw him in a big moment like that. Also, by the way, he's pretty lanky. I didn't realize how lanky he was.
Yeah.
But I thought he did a solid job defensively. And we were talking about Mbaizo's mishaps defensively. Really felt like Powell gave us that kind of reassurance. I was impressed.
Yeah, no, initially I was concerned because like one of the first things he did was there's a give and go and he gets beat. Like he steps up and he gets beat, and it was like it was like great timing. It was a great flick on, and they run down. But yeah, otherwise he kind of settled into the game. But again, you went into one of the toughest places to play. You only lost 2-0. Do I think they're going to score at 2 goals and not give up a goal to even potentially force extra time? I think at this point that's a little too far down the road to even think about. The way the team's been playing, I don't know. It's been very flip-floppy.
The possibilities
are endless. But
remember, there's still a month to go.
Right.
There's a lot that can happen. The Union can catch fire. America can hit a slump. Somebody can get injured. Right. Like you don't know. It's so far out. I think that's what really makes this series kind of odd, is that you have a game and then you have like a month and a half until the next game, and then you play again, and the teams are going to be completely different.
I mean, that is interesting. You definitely could have. I mean, that is absolutely true, and especially the thing with the Union is you're probably going to have you could have Mateus Davo available by that point because he's in the
second coming of Firmino.
Yeah, let's slow the roll there. He just got loaned from Corinthians while he was on loan to a second division club. So let's slow that roll. But I mean, yeah, the things definitely could change. And I mean, listen, we waited almost basically over 3 months in between the quarterfinals and the semifinals, which definitely is peculiar the way they set it up this year. But hey, again, the Union were in the semifinals of the Champions League. I'm at least happy at that. Like, yeah, the results suck, but listen, there was no way in hell you ever thought you were going to get to this point.
Right. I agree. I will say with Club America, anytime I do watch any type of Liga MX MLS type of match, whether it be in Champions League or the Campeones Cup, whatever they're calling that thing these days, I always notice the speed from Liga MX, and it was definitely there with Club America, but they were also pretty physical as well. I didn't expect that from them too, and we look at the possession battle. We know how this team is built with the Philadelphia Union. It's a defensive-minded first. Everything's predicated on the defense. Everything is predicated on that compact midfield as well. But, when Club America has, 74% of possession or 76% of possession when the Philadelphia Union have 29, it's kind of a little bit of a problem. We needed a little bit more possession. I felt like, when the Club America is having the ball, and obviously they're moving the ball from side to side. You talked about that was Powell, the 1-2s. That possession I felt like would have been big, and that's definitely something we'll see what happens as time goes on with this team, because obviously we know this team does have, as strong as it is, it definitely does have its deficiencies. Eugene, what I want to ask you, it's funny because Justin and I made this joke before we aired. When I look at Club America's, just how they're built, the way the Philadelphia Union are built, you look at our side, you look at our bench, right? You got a couple kids who aren't even 18. You got a couple guys who don't even make $1 million. You look at Club America, you got, their bench players make like millions or $1 million. So like, how far away do you think like the Union are from being and competing with the likes of a Club America in North America?
Ooh, that's the $1 million question. I think that's something that, I mean, we kind of revisit that every year, right? How close is MLS to catching up with Liga MX? And it depends, right? Like it's kind of like comparing apples to oranges. MLS is its kind of own animal as far as salary caps, as far as roster limits. Liga MX doesn't have that. It's a more traditional kind of setup. So it's hard to judge. I will say that we've seen now for the past, I don't know, 5-6 years or thereabouts, teams MLS teams make a real good push, make it to the semis. I can remember Montreal making it against Club America into the finals a few years back. So TFC did it, right? So like MLS is getting there. And I don't necessarily think, again, I don't think it's a fair comparison, just because the leagues are structurally so different. And I don't think really that fans, and I know this is so hard to say and so hard to kind of take, but I don't think fans should really judge the worth of their league on how they do against another league, right? Like, yeah, like it's good to see kind of how you measure up, but at the end of the day, these things aren't the same. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
It has to be. Our team's all or nothing. It can't be logic. It's logical. Fans don't.
I know, man.
Logic involved.
I know.
Yeah, man. I agree with you. It's tough for me because I agree with you guys. I felt like the Union gave it their all, and I felt like they gave them a tough match. But it always hinders me, and always wonders, like, what if the Union did have a guy out there that, like, a $5 million, $10 million player that absolutely just like rips goals during the season. And I know that those thoughts do go through in my mind, especially when the Union played as well as they did. And it's always tough, man.
But it's all, it's also, you look at a team that kind of broke the rules to do that. Look at Miami. They didn't do all that well. Right? I mean, let's be honest. We always kind of go, okay, well, what if there was no salary cap? What if we could just get these players? Miami lost to Nashville. I mean, they lost to Nashville in the playoffs. Like,
a lot of teams.
They're not. I don't think they would do anything of note in CCL.
God, no! Are you kidding me?
No, I mean, and I'm not like trying to like dog them out, but it's for me, it's just like I don't think it's a fair comparison. I think it's obviously, yeah, that's the tendency, that's the nature of it, to go, how do we what can MLS do to kind of conquer that beast? What can they do to win the Champions League? And yeah, that's a fair question, but I don't think you should judge the worth of MLS solely on that. I think MLS has done a lot for soccer in this country and for CONCACAF. Let's not forget that it a lot of players from Caribbean nations and from Central American nations get opportunities to play in MLS, that they wouldn't necessarily get at playing at home. They probably couldn't get playing elsewhere, so like this is a good thing for the region. And it's a good thing to see. And I think MLS fans should be proud of what they have and what they've been able to accomplish, and should be excited for the future.
Absolutely. And that kind of like, that brings to the point, and we talk about how Club America has all this money, and Miami is one of the big examples of, well, you spent money. What happened? The key aspect that I keep saying to everyone who says the Union got to spend more, and I go, yeah, FC Cincinnati just spent $13 million on a player who's barely scoring. Do you want to be like FC Cincinnati? No. Like, not Liga MX, like the unbridled success that they've had, and the yes, there are looser restrictions on spending, on how they can form their rosters. That has been, I mean, the league's also been around longer than MLS.
Yeah, and
look at one point just almost shut down 5 years in. Like, you forget two of the Supporter Shield winners, and I've seen the Supporter Shield close. 2 of the first 5 Supporter Shield winners are no longer in the league. Yeah. Like, that goes to show
fusion mutiny.
Yeah, league's been through a lot.
Something else to remember is that the 2 teams that played in the Liga MX final last season were Cruz Azul and Santos. Club America wasn't there, and Santos is a team a lot like the Union. They don't spend big. They develop players from within. They make a lot of smart signings, but they're not America. That's not their model, and their owner has said that will never be their model. And I think the Union can kind of take heart from that. That it's not just an MLS thing. It's not just a Philly thing. Like, this is something that clubs are doing all over the world and are doing to a lot of success. Santos has won 6 championships and almost got a 7th last season. Philly can do that in MLS, and there's no shame in doing that, and maybe making it to the semifinals or finals and never ever winning that. Obviously that would be great if they did. I'm not saying that, but if they don't, if no MLS team winds up doing that for, another decade, like that's fine. Just kind of be happy with what we have and what we're growing here in the US, and those things will come. They'll take care of themselves.
Absolutely. I don't think the USMNT fans want to hear that, but I 100% agree with you, Eugene. Eugene, before we let you go, Eugene, where can people find you? What are you up to these days, my man?
Lots of writing. Lots of writing. It's been a busy week between Leagues Cup, between the CCL, between Liga MX Femenil that I cover, Liga MX, which is having games tomorrow. So I've been busy writing. I do a lot of my writing for FMF State of Mind. I also do some writing over at FootNext Nation. And I'm always willing to talk soccer with anyone who's willing to listen.
Very nice, very nice, guys. Definitely check that out. We will put all the links to that in the descriptions, whether it be on YouTube or whether you stream your podcast. We'll keep it up so you guys can check out Eugene's great work. If you want to get into Liga MX, he is the guy you definitely want to check out. Eugene, my man, thank you so much. Hopefully we can talk for the leg 2 in a month or so.
Definitely looking forward to it. Hopefully we'll see you guys there.
Sounds good, brother. I appreciate it, Eugene.
Yeah, man. Anytime. Take care.
See you, man. All right, guys, let's move forward here now. It was a tough result, you want, Estadio Azteca, Club America, you want to show big. It's all right, though. We'll move forward. We'll revisit that leg 2 when we get to that time. But this week, guys, it's important. We got NYCFC. We got 2 matches this week. But first up, we got NYCFC, and it's a big one. NYCFC and the Union are in the top 5 right now in the Eastern Conference, fighting for that top or at least second place. But today, of course, to preview this NYCFC match, ladies and gentlemen, we always bring you guys the best guests here. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome from the world famous Soccer Cooligans, Christian Polanco. Oh,
hey. What? Oh, you didn't realize I was the heel, okay?
What a twist!
My man shows up with the NYC. He's coming right. He chose anger here today and violence. Let's go.
What is good? Thank you so much for having me, guys. This is my second time on. Third?
This is your second time.
Second time. Absolutely honored. Thank you so much.
No, we thank you, man. We thank you, man. It's crazy. You guys are always killing it, man. And now, obviously, we don't know exactly if we are back in real life. Obviously, we have a Delta variant around the corner, but you guys have been killing it with the stand-up. But how's everything going with the Soccer Cooligans, man? I want to hear the update.
Well, things are good. We are going to MLS All-Star next week. So that should be fun. We are, just trying to get into whatever normalcy this damn disease will allow us to have. Look, get vaccinated, stay safe. That's it. I mean, hopefully we can go back into doing stand-up, traveling, going to soccer games like we used to. So, but no, same thing. TV show, podcast, Twitch, being dummies on the internet. That's it. That's the job.
Get vaccinated, stay safe, and stay away from Florida. I think that's my 3 right there.
Damn, bro, I was just there. I didn't take your advice. My bad.
I feel attacked.
How's Alexis doing these days?
Alexis is doing fine. He we were just on Twitch doing a Prem show.
Nice.
Whenever I say Alexa goes off. So that's whenever you ask me about him, just expect to hear
pick one.
A lady's voice in the background. I don't know what you hear it, right? I don't know if you hear it.
Alexa, she's about to play Suavemente on
stop. Done. Boom. No more questions about my co-host.
Sounds good, my man. Sounds good. Well, let's get to it, man. NYCFC. Listen, you guys have kind of been on a tear as of late. You guys are 6. You haven't lost in 6 games. It looks pretty good. Ronnie Dyla seems to have a dial on this team. What has been working so well?
Was that intentional? That pun? Dyla is dialed in. Is that what you're trying to say? I gotta applaud you if you did that on purpose.
I got a couple up my sleeve, little puns here and there.
Yes. NYCFC have looked incredibly sharp the last couple weeks. Should have probably won some of those games that ended up in draws, especially that one against Toronto, which is like we up 2-0 and end up and the game ends 2-2. So some frustrating ties that felt like losses. But look, I gotta say, I would say New England Revolution, Seattle Sounders, and then NYCFC, hottest teams in the league right now. Okay, I don't think that's up for too much debate. NYCFC have looked really good without the, super duper stars of some of the other teams, like big name DPs. Ronnie Dyla is dialed in. I'm quoting Zapata, and he has kind of figured out two things that have been impressive. Not only are kind of the usual starting 11 playing well, but even the subs, even when he changes the roster a little bit, even when he changes the formation to have 3 at the back instead of 4, they still get it done. So it's been an impressive couple weeks, I have to say.
What makes Stylus so good? Because I mean, remember he's coming from Dome Tehran, and then he's got to come in here. It's a tough process. What makes him so good, though?
I think I think NYCFC intentionally, so when he first got there, he didn't have a great start, right? He lost a bunch of games. People were not happy with the hiring, and then after the MLS is back tournament, I think the team just had time to adjust to his style of play, but also NYCFC and frankly, City Football Group only bring in managers that kind of already have a similar style of play. And they, if you see it at Manchester City, and if that's the top level of style of play, the rest of the City Football Group teams are just doing that on to a lower degree. And that's I don't think, not that I don't want to give him credit, but I think there's kind of two things. I think he already had a style of play and he just needed to get to know his players. But then he's also brought in a lot of players that he's familiar with that played in Sweden, that played in just Eastern Europe. And the guys, obviously Anton Tinnerholm, who was there before he got there, but Malte Amundsen. There's just a couple of these guys that are they just got there and it looks like they've been playing with the team for 6-7 months. So I think now that you're starting to see some of the players that he's familiar with, and that already kind of have that style of play, it's just working out. The players that were there even before Ronnie got there were pretty good. NYCFC was in a pretty good place when he got the team, and so there wasn't too much he even really had to tinker with.
Okay. Very interesting to see. Very interesting. He's no Jim Curtin, but he's doing all right.
He is not. Jim Curtin
he's not the drip king, but
this is every time NYCFC play Philadelphia Union, it's like what is it that the image of why am I forgetting his name? But the dude holding the gun crying. That's kind of that is me whenever I NYCFC play.
I love you, Jim. Listen, no one can rival the drip king. Let's be honest.
No, Jim Curtin. I watched the Champions League match, and it was frustrating, man. I'm rooting for Philly there, man, because I really wanted them to it's tough, obviously, playing in Mexico and in the Azteca. So,
but I must say, in the rain, my man was rocking the black and white dunks. He made it look real nice.
And that jacket, that was
bomber jacket.
That was nice. That bomber jacket. I'm like, damn, I might have to cop that.
No, he is like a mailman, just in the rain, sleet, hail, or snow. The drip is coming. There's no excuse. Nothing stopping it. Doesn't matter. He doesn't dress for the weather. He dresses for the drip. Okay.
United States Drip Service.
Okay. That's where your tax money's going. All right.
It's funny because Union fans thought the Brendan Aronson and the Mark McKenzie money went towards the youth academy. No. Went to Jim's closet.
Okay. And speaking of Brendan Aronson, you saw that goal he scored today?
Woo! Listen. We produce winners. That's how Philly works.
Dude,
actually, Brendan is from the town. Justin was living in Medford for a while, and then did you see the Aronsons at all, Justin? We never even talked about this. Papa Aronson and everything.
Medford is a relatively small place, but there's a lot of wooded areas. He was closer to Shawnee. I wasn't too far from Shawnee, but no.
Okay.
But no, listen, everyone knows in that area. Everyone knew who they were.
It's the Aaronsons. Now he's knocking in goals for Salisbury. Look at that. Love it, man. Justin, I want to ask you. So look, there's been a lot of talk of Gazdak, and I wanted to get your thoughts on this. For me, it seems like we talked about this before. It seems like he's more of a Boric Dochkow type of cam there, where not more like a Marco Fabian. We all would like a Brennan Aronson who does a little bit of both, but those don't come, every now and then. So, how do you feel about Gazdak's role with this team, man?
I personally love it. I mean, I think people want this go attacking midfielder that is going to shoot from anywhere like Marco did, and that is willing to put in the hustle. And Gazdak does have some pace. He's not slow by any stretch of the imagination, but he's definitely more of a he's more of a Dochkow. He's more of the pull the strings. And don't get me wrong, he's been feeding some great passes.
Yes, sir.
Our unfortunately, we're just not putting them away. Like, he's providing great chances, they're just not putting them away. So people put it on him, and he's doing a pretty good job of giving the opportunities. But I mean, at some point, would I love him to take some more shots? Yeah, but also if you can slip in that through ball for a better chance on net, I mean, wouldn't it hurt to at least try? So I like, and also again, people seem to forget he was here for one game, went with Hungary to the Euros, got a slight knock, came back as a precaution, waited a little bit to get a start, didn't get his first real start until the Nashville game. And so he's been here really about a month and a half. So again, I keep saying this to people, and people don't seem to understand. Not every midseason signing is gonna be a Nico Ladero. That just is not how it works. Midseason signings statistically just do not work out until the next season, because it takes time to get acclimated, because a lot of these players are either finishing up seasons or they're in the off season of their season. So there's a little bit of a leeway, but get off the guy's back. All I gotta say, let's slow everyone's roll for just a little bit.
Well, this sounds like a reasonable Philadelphia Union fan. What kind of show is this?
You missed the wrong. Listen, Christian, you missed the wrong one where I've gone off. This is common reserve, Justin. That's a rare occurrence.
I mean, I haven't seen that much of Gazdag, and so far, I mean, the beginning of the season was pretty strong for the Union, and then it really did seem like the leading up until the CCL match, it was like, we got to prepare for the CCL match, changing lineups a little bit. Let's make sure nobody's we don't have any injuries, so we can prepare for that game. And so that's why I feel like the slide is at, and I think once CCL is over, whether they move on or not, I think we'll see the normal Union that we've seen in the last couple of years. Even though a couple big players are missing, I don't see why you guys can't have the same form that you had at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I agree I 100% agree with you. And, we talked about before, we'll see what this team looks like once Champions League is done. Because obviously, in the back of their head, they're thinking about it. But yeah, I feel like we remember when before this leg one, all the early goals that they were allowing, in the first 15 minutes, it felt like they were constantly allowing a goal. And I feel like that's going to help them out if they can get that defense to shore up and not allow those early goals. Because as Jim stated, this is a defensive-minded team. It's defense first, and then everything is predicated off of that. So we'll see how
have we found Bizo's tooth? What happened there? What's the reporting on that?
Listen, it's lodged in the back of Tati's head. Oh wait, that was Brujo's elbow.
Pretty much. Man. We were talking about that because he got an extension today. So he got an extension. I'm like, with that money, he's gonna get that tooth fixed.
You gotta, hopefully dental is a part of the plan.
That's tooth money, my guy.
I don't know, sugar
you got
man.
to walking around tooth money now.
Whoa, you didn't have to come back with a gold tooth, bro. Is that covered? Is that part of the plan?
That's the premium plan, my guy.
Wow.
So last time we played, you guys, it was actually here in Chester. It was a rough one. We had no Jamiro, and of course, El Brujo being El Brujo got himself a nice little red card.
Just a little flacata.
A little early in there.
He was listening to us because he knows we don't like Castellanos as a fan base.
The funny part about that was I went to the bathroom when he was given a yellow card. Like I saw him given the yellow. I went to the bathroom, came back, and everyone's complaining, and I'm like, "What did I miss?" And they're like, "He got a red card." And I'm like, "What?"
Yeah,
the hell?
bro, he got upgraded to first class in the locker room. Like, head over there.
Got some of that hot water early.
No, you know what? NYCFC against Philly is always a fun match. For the last couple. I mean, the last like 2 years, we've sort of just kind of had your number. Philadelphia Union always seems to struggle against NYCFC, and I was just at the game against Inter Miami, and it's the possession can frustrate a lot of teams. Teams that this is, and I'll give credit to NYCFC. I feel like this year they've made a bigger commitment to a high press, and they can get the ball back. They're causing teams to make a lot of mistakes. And because they have James Sands in the back, James Sands is like, I think Ronnie's telling him like, bro, don't even think about crossing midfield. You hang out back there, and if you clean up any mistakes. So that's why you'll see Thiago, you'll see Tati. Tati has been wild reckless, making trying to even stop the goalkeeper from making goal kicks. Obviously, getting the ball out. So I think this will be, especially after having watched the Union again in CCL, they're gonna have the lineup probably is gonna be a little bit different. I cannot see NYCFC losing this game. It'll either be a draw or NYCFC win.
Well, hold on that because Sean brought up a good point. I'm checking the weather now.
It looks like Chester around game time. Bring your Ziploc bags, folks, for your electronics.
Dude, it's been like 3 games this year we've had to deal with rain.
Yeah, listen, that's why I always have a spare Ziploc bag in the car. If it's the cell phone, if it's the keys, you gotta be prepared.
You got the poncho too?
I don't care if I get wet. I don't care if my shit gets wet, man.
Well, but you gotta protect the hair, bro. What are you talking about? Listen. I'll let that one slide. AI. We talked about this when you were down in Chester for Morgan's grad party. I'll let that slide.
Yo, I love the braids, man. Christian, you rocking those braids, brother.
I'm trying different things, man. I don't know that fun. I haven't cut my hair since February 2020. It was a bucket list thing. I was like, let me see what I look like with braids. Some styles are good. Some styles I look ridiculous, but you only learn until you try it out.
Right now, looking like Yordi Reyna over here.
Yeah, dude, I got the little man bun. Okay.
As the poet Drake once said, "You only live once," so you do it up, Christian.
Yes, poet laureate.
October's very own.
Drakington. Yes, he's incredible.
All right, let's get to so first off, Justin, I want to know the lineup you think we're going to see because Christian doesn't think we're going to go full strength. Let me get that prediction from you.
I mean, in net you have 2-time goalie of the year. Little flex. Back line, I think I'm curious.
No advisor, remember.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, at this point, so I think probably Alvis on the right side. Otherwise, I think the back line stays the same.
I thought was pretty good in TCL.
Yeah. And I think, listen, he got burned a little early, and I think he kind of got into the game. But yeah, I think otherwise the back line's the same. I think your midfield. I mean, at this point, I think you're going obviously Brujo at the 6, probably Leon and Ali, and I'm going Gazdag. I think that's right now that's going to be your standard midfield, and I think having Leon definitely allows a bit more flexibility and allows Brujo to go up because Leon is naturally a 6, and Leon also has, again, crazy amounts of pace. Like I think like I said, he's probably, I would say arguably top 5 fastest player on the team. Obviously behind Sergio, probably being the top on the team. And then in terms of strikers, I think you'll probably say Sergio and Casper. Just because I think Sergio is good at least for 60 to 70 minutes. I'm saying this now, and I hope I am curious if Mateus Davo is on the bench. Because obviously he wasn't on the bench for CCL, but I think given the time frame of he's on the roster, but given time frame of him traveling, I think it obviously makes sense. But given a full week now in practice, I have to imagine he's at least potentially on the bench, and depending on the scoreline, he could make a substitute appearance. That's my hope. That's my prediction. Honestly, I think he gets in for maybe like a 15-minute cameo.
When are you guys gonna unleash Paxton Aronson on this damn league?
Listen, he showed Matt Turner what's good.
Yeah, dude. I didn't know he had a left foot like that.
Neither did Andrew Farrell. He got put on his butt.
He does look really good there. I agree with your lineup, except I think we're gonna get the Jamaican trifecta. I think we're gonna get Corey Burke instead of Sergio. I do like the Corey Burke starting with Sergio coming off the bench, because once you're tired and he's coming at you full speed with full strength, that's tough to stop. So I think we're gonna get the Jamaican trifecta. Obviously, Jim only knows. But what is your prediction for tomorrow night?
Justin or me?
Oh, Justin, sorry.
Okay.
Did you say Justin? I didn't hear.
I think it's going to be an interesting one. There definitely, I think there will be a good amount of goals had. That being said, I'm going with a 2-2 draw. And the reason I say a draw is because I think after a tough result against Club America, again, you weren't expecting to. I don't think you were really expecting to win. I think you were expecting to keep it close, and I think 2 goals still is close.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Union are going to look to kind of, make a statement. And I think they get an early goal, which is rare for them these days. But I think as the game gets on, NYC's FC has been one of those teams that seems to kind of figure out that diamond. And I would hope that, and Jim is pretty good at technical flexibility and kind of, working around, and he's been getting better at kind of neutralizing any advantages teams have had over that diamond. I think NYCFC has been on a good vein of form. Now, while most of that has been at home, I think you look at that and go, yeah, like they're playing pretty well, so you can't blame them. But a 2-2 draw seems about.
Nutmeg said wrong. Boo.
Hey, listen, you're lucky that Nutmeg is you're lucky Nutmeg's adorable. Otherwise, I wouldn't be taking that kind of gumption.
I see. AK Gaming said, "I'm saying 1-0 Union." Wow, this seems to be a very biased program.
Ironically, from a Chicago Fire fan.
Yeah, AK Gaming's a Chicago Fire fan.
I think it's going to be 3-1 NYCFC. I give NYCFC have looked really sharp defensively. I think they're going to play 4 at the back. It'll be Chanot, Collins, and then if James Sands is playing like at the 6, I don't think Union is scoring more than 1 goal. I think NYCFC are going to be pretty dominant, more possession. Tati's going to be a pain in the ass.
All over the place.
Per usual. But I think this is I think it's going to be a tough match, and especially if you said it's raining, I think it's going to be there's going to be some mistakes. But I still think NYCFC take this one.
So let me ask you, over under 3 scuffles between Union and NYCFC tomorrow. There's always scuffles between us.
There's always scuffle. It's a good if you're looking for a good scuffle, check out. That's how the game should be marketed. I'm gonna say, I gotta say, I'm gonna say under, because if it was Union against Miami, then I say over. But I think it'll be a reasonable, a healthy amount of scuffles. Okay?
Healthy amount, not too much, not too little, just right.
I'll be watching Castellanos and El Brujo throughout the match.
Oh my god, that's the revenge tour part 2.
I mean, he hammer fisted him. I mean, I don't know what the revenge is exactly.
For a Union fan, I don't know what he was thinking either.
That's what Brujo. That's what he calls his fist, revenge. Part 2.
I don't know. It looked like the Malice at the Palace type of stuff. I don't know. I didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah, no one. I didn't see it coming.
Does that make Brujo Ron Artest?
Meta world peace, man.
Okay.
Christian, so I can't let you go without asking. So I see the shirt behind you. Now, Justin, you fan, you can go away. But what's going on with our club this year, man? I obviously don't have time to dive into the prem, but I want to know, man, what should we look forward to this year with Everton?
Well, if winning their first game, especially after having the poor first half that they did, I think there's a unexpected optimism. I know we beat Southampton, not the toughest team in the world, but I think it's going to be interesting. I'll say this. I think whatever happens with James, whether he leaves or whether he stays, I think this is hard to say because I love James. I love my Colombianos, right? But I feel like Rafa Benitez doesn't think he'll fit in with the team. He's frankly slow, and with the style of play that they need to play, and they need somebody who can defend from time to time. James might be the worst defender in soccer history. I mean, like, I love the guy, but the guy, I mean, I've said this a couple times and people have then like tweeted at me. I watch James play and pay attention to how many tackles he makes.
No,
just see if he gets one a game. That's pretty much the average. He really doesn't even try to defend, but he is obviously an absolute magician, passing the ball, scoring.
It's the wrong era, I feel like.
I get for real. Okay, yeah, right. Now he's he's going crazy. So that I think if James can adapt to what they play like, then I think there's a real future. But even without James, I think Doucouré is really the linchpin and the future of the team. So look, I predicted 8th place this season. If they can get more than that, it would be a dream come true.
Oh man, that would. I do think he does leave. I just feel like Italy is like the perfect place for him. I mean, you know how they play out there. I just feel like that would be.
Because even nice if he wants to be the Colombian Pirlo didn't play defense. He had the guys at Juve risking their lives to get the ball back, and Pirlo just passed to whoever needed to. So that's who James needs to be, and he needs a team like that around him. And Everton, I just don't think are.
2 more questions. Number 1. You're pretty neutral when it comes to.
I thought you just say you're pretty. Okay, I agree.
Christian, hey,
stop there. Say less.
So you're pretty neutral. Cheesesteaks or chopped cheese?
You're not talking to the wrong person.
This is a very.
Wait, you know who you're talking to? Is it a?
Can I just say I hate both? What do you want? No, no. I. It's weird because they are essentially, in my mind, my fiance is a nutritionist. I like eating healthy things. These are not things that I would go to if I could only eat one thing in each particular city. Neither of these are my first.
By the way, I said this to her. Jewish nutritionist is the biggest contradiction statement ever.
A Jew-tritionist, as they say. Just came up with it. Just came up with it. Look, if I had to, this is the only reason I'm picking a chopped cheese. It's because it's a smaller portion size. That's really it. Chopped cheese, a cheesesteak is just so tremendous. I feel awful after eating it. I don't think anybody can debate that you never feel great after eating one. But I feel less worse about a chopped cheese. So that's why it wins.
And where do we go to get these slamming chopped cheeses in New York?
I mean, any bodega anywhere. I mean, I've never heard of a particular spot to go to. You just go to your guy. You just go to the bodega in your area. Nobody's comparing chopped cheeses. I mean, that's real. What a waste of time comparing a Yelp review for a chopped cheese. Forget it.
So I shouldn't do food vlogs at chopped cheese spots.
No, because remember there was this like some blog did this, and it was like a young white girl going to like, you should get a chopped cheese on 165th Street, and everybody's like, get out of our town, lady, get out. Like, no, it is not bougie food by any means. It's hood food.
Yeah, it ain't what you call highbrow.
No,
chopped
so
cheese the Aki way.
Get it anywhere. They're the same thing literally everywhere.
Christian, thank you so much for hopping on into Dupe by the River. Honestly, it is always an honor, truly a pleasure to have you on, man. And keep killing it. You guys have honestly been killing it. I cannot wait to see your guys' faces everywhere when it comes to America. When you think of American soccer, you think soccer cooligans.
That's the plan, man. So thank you so much for having me. Yeah, this is always a pleasure. Happy to hop on anytime. Justin also crushing it in Gully Squad all the time. I love the support. Appreciate it. We have watch the show on Fubo TV every there you go. Every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. We have Jessica Smetana from the Lebitard Show this Thursday. And we're going to be doing a bunch of fun stuff at All-Star. So yeah, tune in. There's going to be the next couple weeks.
Self-promotion. That's not why we brought you on here.
Okay. I have zero shame. So that's why. It's I don't know. It's one of my gifts. I don't know what to tell you. I think nobody needs to go out. I think he's crying. He's like, get off the show. Thank you so much for having me on, guys. You guys are always crushing it. John, Parcero Philly. I don't know if you give your government out here, but always I respect and always inspired by what you guys do as well. So I just hope the Union lose against MICFC. That's all.
Oh man, it should be a good game, and I hope to see you guys soon for sure, man.
Cheers, brother.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for another episode of Dupe by the River. Don't forget, guys, you can check us out wherever you stream podcasts, and you can check the Cooligans out wherever you stream podcasts as well, from Apple, Google, Spotify, you name it. You can find it there. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Christian Polanco, and that is Justin, undisputed ball king of Jersey. I go by the name of El Parcero Philly, and we're telling you guys to Dupe on. Talk to you guys later on.